Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back with our friend Lee Grigsby. He's our health and life coach and friend and so much more. Welcome to the show today. Happy New Year. It's been a few weeks. How are you doing?
Oh, good, Jill. Happy New Year to you. Good to see you. Good to hear you. Yeah, right. We're halfway into the month. Like,
I
where did it go?
know. I
It's
know.
amazing.
And you mentioned
Yeah.
good a few times. Live all
Well,
good.
there, I
Coaching.
mean, a little bit
Say
of
hello. Introduce yourself, please.
absolutely. Well, I am Lee Grigsby. I am founder and coach of LiveAllGood Coaching. You can find me at liveallgood.com. You can reach me at 202-455-6104. You can call or text that number. You can also find me on social media. That's Live All Good Coaching. That's Instagram and Facebook, or for the new kids, that's Meta. And
Yes. No.
right, that's hard to get used to that. Still Facebook and Instagram. And you can also find me Lee Grigsby on Facebook as well. So
Beautiful. Lee, what do you have in
yeah.
store for us today?
Well, I know you have missed it over the last 2 weeks. So we are going to start with just I'll set the table for the listeners. What we like to do is we start with wins. We start with what's working well, what's going good, because that sets the condition for you to start looking for the positive. So we always like to start with that. Jill, would you like to go first, or would you want me to go
You, please.
first? Well, you know what? I'm just happy that I am 17 days into the new year, into 2022, and I've not gained any weight. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's easy to, folks, we're coming out of the holidays. It is easy to have packed on some holiday pounds, some winter pounds. Well, for those of us in winter climates,
Yes, yes.
it's easy for us to do that. So, thankfully, I've not gained any pounds. I've been able to go to the gym on a regular basis, so that feels good. That's also helpful for my mental health. So, yeah, it's going good.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Absolutely. And how about you, my friend? What is some wins for you?
Well, the wins are that I've been off of work for 2 weeks. I got to travel with my kids, went to Florida, had some fun at Legoland, Disney, and all that stuff.
All
Um,
right.
but the truth is, it's a lot of work, right? So
Uh,
I'm going to tell you my biggest win for this week
oh
is that I
yes.
came home this weekend and I started putting away. You know how I am with organization. I
Absolutely.
finally got to put away the Christmas decorations. Still working on a few more, but
Nice.
feels so good to put stuff away because now
Nice.
you got to understand it's also Christmas in my house. Then it goes right to my son's birthday, my birthday. So then it's birthday banners, birthday stuff, presents. Everything has been everywhere. So I
Right.
finally got the house almost in order, but I feel good about it.
Well, and we talked about that before. That's super important because it clears space while you see the physical space, right?
Mm-hmm.
It clears space emotionally, it clears space mentally
Yep.
for you to gain and learn new things, for you to get space for the more positive things that are going to happen in the new year. So that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yep. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
feeling good, clearing the clutter. Oh
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. Absolutely. Well, I want to jump into something today. It goes along with when people make resolutions, right? But it's something pretty simple that a lot of times gets lost in the shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the easiest things, well, I won't say easiest. That's not quite the word. One of the most tangible things that we can do to start changing, I mentioned I haven't gained weight, right?
Yeah.
Is losing weight. And that's typically a thing that people talk about first of the year, like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Well, one of the most important things for losing weight
Mm-hmm.
is intermittent fasting. Okay. We've all heard it. Now I'm going to get to that at the end. But before we talk about intermittent fasting, I want to talk about meal planning.
Okay.
Okay. Because meal planning is important for intermittent fasting. It's also something tangible that once you start seeing what you're building, how you're
Mm-hmm.
going about making this plan,
Mm-hmm.
you can start to put that towards other things. Like a lot of times, so with a plan, like with a meal plan, you heard people talk about going to the gym, right?
Yep.
How do I start exercising better? They give you tips like put your clothes out at night,
Yep.
have a workout on your phone, or just have a workout ready to go. Takes the guesswork out of it, right? So that all you have to do. Actually, I saw another tip. Somebody had said, you know what? They bought a coffee maker and they set the timer to start at 5:30 every morning. So that fresh brewed coffee made them get out of bed, right?
Ooh, I love that smell. Yes.
So that is setting the condition for inevitable success. So what we're going to do is we are going to set the conditions for inevitable success for meal planning. Okay?
Beautiful. Yep.
That's what we're going to do. So I got a few notes here. The first step that you want to do is come up with a menu, right? Now we're talking over a period of 5 to 7 days.
Okay.
Come up with a menu, right? By coming up with a menu, that takes the guesswork out of, oh my gosh, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock. What am I going to make for dinner? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or it also takes away that anxiety of, well, we don't have anything prepared. Now we got to order. And I love pizza. So
Yeah.
I'm not upset about that. But then if you order pizza 5 times out of the week,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not what we
It's a
want to, we
problem.
want to go away from that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you want to come up with a menu, right?
Okay.
Little note here with the menu. The one thing you want to do with your menu is you want to try something new, try something different, right? Only one time out of the week. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people ask, as a health and life coach, as the health part, a lot of people say, I want to do vegetarian, I want to do vegan, I want to put more, excuse me, fruits and vegetables, whatever, into my diet. This menu is a great way to do that, right? So let's say that you eat chicken, turkey, red meat, whatever. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have that on your menu. Say
Okay.
it's say it's spaghetti one night. Say it's steak and potatoes. I don't know. I don't know what's on your menu, but those are a couple of days, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of those days, try something brand new that you typically wouldn't try,
Okay.
right? So number one, that then starts to change the way you think, that opens you up to something new without judging it first, right? We talk a lot about no judging. So
Mm-hmm.
you're exploring a new food. Now, you don't have to necessarily like it afterwards, but hopefully you do because you're preparing it. But try something new. So set your menu, okay? After your menu, what do you think is next?
After the menu,
Yeah, after you come up with a menu for the 7 days.
I got to go to the grocery store. I got to get the food. I got to get the supplies. I got to get.
Bingo.
All right. Ding 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 ding.
Shopping list.
I love when
Yes.
you trick me, when you question me. I get all nervous. I'm like, is it a trick question?
Nope, you got it right. You nailed
Good.
it. So shopping list, right? Shopping list does several things also. And again, we mentioned the meal plan, or the not the meal, but the menu takes the guesswork out of what you're going to fix for the week. The shopping list takes the guesswork out of when you go to the store, what you're going to buy. You've got it right there. You've got it on your list. Now, you don't have to just shop for the ingredients of the meals, right? Those are the first things you go for because that's what you're going to fix for the rest of the week. But okay, you put on what we call your staples, right? So you get bread, eggs, milk. If you guys get young kids, cereal, that kind of thing. Maybe a staple in your house is chicken nuggets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So put those staples on your grocery list, but make sure for your menu, wherever you get the meals and the ingredients and the
Yep.
the plan from that, put that on your shopping list. Okay,
Okay.
takes the guesswork out of what happens when you go to the store. Now I'm gonna give you a super secret ninja tip when you go to the store. Everybody ready? Everybody ready?
Ready.
Do not go to the store hungry.
Never thought about that.
Do
Ah.
not do not go to the store hungry.
Okay.
Now it happens. I've done it before. When you go to the store hungry, and the way that they have grocery stores laid out is genius. They have everything that's right in front of you. That's not necessarily the best for you, but it's going to satisfy every craving that you have. And
Okay.
if you're hungry, you're going to grab the first thing and that looks good, that smells good, you're going to do that. So if
Mm,
you go to the grocery store after you've had a meal, you're less likely to fall into that trap.
got it.
Yeah. Do
I
not. Oh, and I know
I'm
like
one of those. I snack and push.
well, and I know it like we're all busy too, right? So if
Yeah.
you're busy, that can be a challenge not to go to the store hungry, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that's where we've talked about like having some snacks or something,
Yeah.
even if it's you're eating it in the car
Yeah.
before you get to the store. That way you won't be as tempted to go off of your grocery list, right?
Yeah.
And overspend. You
Interesting.
won't be tempted to do those things. The way so let's talk about this for a quick second.
Sure.
The way they have grocery stores laid out
Ah.
around the outside aisles, if you notice, that's where all your fresh produce is. That's where all the fruits are. That's where all the healthier items are, right? They are designed for you to go up and down the aisles. And if you notice on the end caps of each aisle, it's like
Yes.
the 2 for $5
Yes.
cereal box, or it's the again, I love Captain Crunch, folks. So
Okay.
I'm not telling you it's a bad thing. I just want you to understand how they are laid out. It is so they put the things in your view where you're going to see them, right? Why do you think they have candy at the checkout register?
Wow. Yeah. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Wow.
Yes. So it's not that they're not doing anything evil.
Mm-hmm.
They are trying to sell products. That's how
Yeah.
they make their money. There's nothing wrong
Wow.
with that. But they're laid out that way for a reason, right? And if you notice, either it's on the outside aisles or the furthest away from the entrance is like again the fresh produce or like your nuts, your walnuts, all
Mm-hmm.
those things, because then it's designed for you to walk all the way through the store
Okay.
before you get to those things. So you will have picked up some other thing. Oh yeah, I've been wanting to try that, and you just start dropping stuff in your cart.
Yeah.
So something to be aware of. Something to be aware of.
Thank you for that. Go ahead.
Do not go to the store hungry, folks.
Oh my goodness. All right. And I have a message in from the station. Looks like
Oh yeah.
um okay, someone wrote in, I've been looking to get into a more healthier lifestyle. I want to do either a race or even a triathlon. How can I start training for something like that? I think I need to prepare
Oh
myself mentally also, but I'm not sure where to start. That's Jake from Charlotte. I know we're off topic, but it's okay. No
no,
problem. Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
fantastic. Let's make a pivot.
So I
Jake,
think I need
Jake
to
from
prepare
Charlotte.
myself mentally also, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure where to start. Okay.
Love it. Well, Jake, um, I have done triathlons before, so thank you for the question. If you haven't done anything like that before, let's figure out what your baseline is. Okay. Have you run a 5K before? What's your swimming like? Have you started swimming at all? Let's start with your baseline before we start figuring out what type of triathlon you want to do. And then once you figure out the distance you want to do, we can then work on the training plan and the nutrition, you see. So, and if you haven't done any of those, that's okay. If you haven't done any of it, that's all right. Now it's the time to start. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe let's say Jake can only run half a mile. Okay. Well, that's fine. That's your baseline. That's where you start. So then you want to start working on each week. Let's see if I can maintain that half mile at whatever speed you're doing. The second or third week, let's see if you could do 1 mile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you go past that 1 mile, get to a mile and a half. Okay. Now, for the listeners and Jake in particular, I'm only talking about a 5K race, which is 3.1, 3.2 miles, because one of the smaller distances in triathlon is called a sprint triathlon.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, if I get my distances right, about 750 meters of swimming, which is about a half a mile. It is a 20 to 25K bike ride,
Mm-hmm.
which is like 14 to 16 miles. And then the run at the end is a 5K run. Okay. So that's why I'm talking about the distance of the 5K run.
Got it.
So also, let's talk about the biking. If you've never ridden a bike before, that's okay, right?
True. Yeah.
I would advise find someone or somewhere, either a rec center, a stationary bike. Okay. Start on a stationary bike. Again, get a baseline for how long you can ride. Try to ride for 10 minutes. See how you feel after that. Okay. Now, if you've never ridden a bike before and you start with a stationary bike, I also advise a few lessons so you can get your balance.
Got it.
You
Good.
don't you don't want to fall off, and you don't want to like get super fancy. I know everybody sees the people who do triathlons. They got the matching gear, it matches the bike. They look so cool. They got the helmet and the glasses. Folks, I'm not one of those guys either.
Okay. Okay.
I don't have the matching stuff, but you got to start slow. Start somewhere. Get a baseline. Okay. Once you've learned to ride a bike, awesome. So now you got two parts done. You got the running, you got the biking. My weak point, which many people's weak point going in triathlon, is swimming.
hmm
Okay. So again, start slow, start with your baseline, get to a pool if you, with depending on what your comfort level is, or if you might be in an area where you can swim outside. Also, if you're swimming outside, do not swim alone if you can. Please do not swim alone. That's important. Many different bodies of water, just don't swim alone. Not the
hmm
smartest thing. So if you're going to a pool, try to go to a pool that is a 25-yard pool
Okay.
and just see how many lengths you can do. If you can swim one length, okay. See if you can swim two or three lengths or even four without stopping. Okay.
hmm
Quick note here, I'll give you guys when I first started training for a sprint triathlon, I had known how to swim as a kid, but I hadn't swum for distance in probably, I don't know, 30 some years. Right. So I was training in the pool for like 6 months.
Wow.
And in the beginning, I couldn't do any more than probably four lengths of a 25-yard, but I built up every week and got to a point where I could swim. I'm trying to do the amount of laps in my mind. I think it's somewhere between like 30 to 40 laps without stopping. That's what you want to do to get to somewhere which is about five, 600, 700 meters
hmm
because the distance is 750. Okay. And every course is different, but mentally you want to be prepared to swim that distance. So if you're going back and forth in the pool without stopping, awesome. But start slow and build up to it. Don't automatically jump in the pool and try to do 40 laps. The lifeguard might have to jump in and help you.
True.
We don't want that. We don't want that. And so now that you've figured out what your baselines are, you just try to increase those distances every week. It's not about speed, increase your distances
Okay.
so that you can get to the distances of the race. Okay.
Got it.
When you start talking about nutrition for a triathlon,
hmm
that is key. Everybody talks about no carbs, no carbs. Well, you kind of need carbs to fuel. It's an endurance race, but you also want protein.
Okay.
So you want to try to have some protein before you start any of these trainings, whether it's the run, swim, or the bike. When you're swimming, people don't think that you actually sweat when you swim, and you do.
Good.
They,
I never even thought about that.
I
You
used to.
still, yeah,
I
you have to.
never trained with water. Like I would see people put in the water bottles at the end of the lane.
And you're like,
I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? But you're still active and you do sweat.
yep,
So you just don't notice it because you're in the water.
got it. Okay.
So hydration is super important.
hmm
Now hydration is important overall. So you're going to want to increase your hydration from just your normal activity. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you start swimming, I used to take like the vitamin water zeros because it also has electrolytes and it has like I think vitamins B12, B6, something like that. Helps with energy,
hmm
helps replenish your energy. So you can have those things put them at the end of the lane, do your training, take a break, that kind of thing. But as far as the, protein and carbohydrates, now
Mm-hmm.
there's a myth out there with a lot of endurance sports and carbohydrates that you're supposed to overload with carbs like the night before, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not really true because your body can only process and handle so many carbs as it is. So you don't want to overload, right? You
Yeah.
don't want to like eat spaghetti all day long. You have a good spaghetti dinner, that's fine. But you got to remember it takes about 12 hours for your body to fully digest that. And that's when your body will then store the energy for you to do the activity.
Okay.
So you don't want to have like a spaghetti dinner at like 8 o'clock because
Mm-hmm.
most races start pretty early.
Yeah.
Your body will still be sluggish and you'll still feel kind of bloated, and you don't want to swim trying to do that.
No, no, not at all. Okay.
Not fun, not fun. But also when you're training, you want to then experiment with nutrition, right? A lot of times they have the energy gels, or they have well, I used to use Cliff bars, but now I've got to move to Lara bars. They're all different, but in your training is when you want to start to experiment with that,
Okay.
right? Another tip about triathlons in particular, there's a specific training that's called bricking. Bricking is when you do two of the three disciplines in your training back to back. Typically, bricking is biking, then running.
Okay.
Because the way the triathlon works, it's swimming first, then you bike, then you run. So a brick session would be you go out and you do a training a bike training. It may be, I don't know, it may be the mileage. It may just be whatever you're set to do that day. Then you will come back, park your bike, and immediately go for the run. That way you get to, your body starts to
Mm-hmm.
then feel what it's like to do
Got
that.
it.
And I will tell you, the dead leg feeling is real.
Yeah.
You get off
Yeah.
the bike and you're moving the bike, park the bike, you try to run, it is very difficult to lift your legs. You're like, wait a minute, what just happened here? And you have to, like, your mind has to get through that physical challenge of really
Okay.
moving your legs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But again, in that brick session is where you want to start to play around with nutrition, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you're kind of running out of energy, maybe you have a quick bite of a bar or an energy gel with water in between the bike and the run, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what you would do in the transition in the race. When you're coming off the bike, jumping into your running shoes, putting on your running gear, that would be the time to refuel pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's about it though. You want to start with getting your baseline for each discipline. So get a
Okay.
baseline for running, get a baseline for biking, get a baseline for swimming. Once you do that, then start looking at the nutrition and seeing what works best for you. Again, you want to make sure you have enough protein. You want to make sure you have some carbs when you're training, and the carbs come in many different forms, But you typically it's like some type of pasta or the energy bars. Those work really well because they also have sugar content,
True.
and you're going to burn that off when you're doing the training.
And you
So
need it. You need it. No, thank you for that. Wow.
absolutely.
Thank you so much. And I forgot it's Jake
That
from
was
Charlotte,
Jake from
North
Charlotte.
Carolina. You're so
Yeah,
good.
thank you, Jake, for the
From
question.
Charlotte.
And
All right.
if I can share real quickly, that's probably another win. I actually have looked at triathlon schedule for this year.
Oh, good. Tell me.
So yeah, there's a few around the area, around the Washington D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, and I'm gonna try to do maybe 2 or 3 this year. Based,
Awesome.
they have good COVID protocols. I mean,
I'm
they did
sure.
they
I'm
they did things in
sure.
2021, so I'm looking to get back on the bandwagon.
Oh,
So
good.
Jake, everything that I laid out for you is what I'm going to be doing myself.
Beautiful. Thank that why it was so thorough. I'm like, what was this planned? I'm like, wait a second. He has the answer in his back pocket. Like,
No,
now
this
I know
so
why.
I remember doing that. Now I only started doing triathlons in 2017, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm still new to it. But yeah, it's a process. You have to build, and like even if you're a great athlete, it is a humbling sport because you're doing
Mm-hmm.
3 different disciplines all in one race.
Got it.
It's a huge, but once you finish cross the finish line, you won't forget it.
Awesome. Good to know. And in continuing with the topic, we started off with nutrition. All right. That was the meal planning.
Oh, the meal
You're
planning.
going to bring us
Yeah,
back to that for our last few
absolutely.
minutes. Go ahead.
Sure. So the one thing that the shopping list also works with is the budget, right?
Hmm.
We talked about that way, and we talked about how grocery stores are laid out. So that way you don't go over budget, right?
Yeah,
You can stick to your budget. You get your staples, you get
true.
the ingredients for the meal plan for the week, and it takes all the guesswork out of it, especially if you're busy, right? You already have the ingredients that you're going to fix. You can set the days that you're
You
going to
want
have
it.
these
Yep.
meals. And let's say out of 7 days, you've planned for 4, right?
Makes life so much easier.
That's awesome because now you have 4 meals. You
Yeah.
might have
Yeah.
leftovers. And then you can also go ahead and take one day for that pizza, right?
Hmm.
That way you're not
Absolutely.
having it all the time. I do have one more kind of side note here.
Sure. Go ahead.
One of the most important things when you're doing the shopping, check your labels. Check your labels. A lot of times, like I know we talk a lot about trying to eat healthier, eat cleaner food. Not everybody has access to that. So that's okay, right? Do the best you can with what you have access to. So if
Hmm.
you're getting stuff from the store, check the labels. If the label has a lot of ingredients,
Yeah.
it's highly processed.
Hmm.
And if it has a lot of ingredients that you don't know how to pronounce, it's
Hmm.
also highly processed. So go for the thing that has the least amount of ingredients and the things that you can actually say and pronounce. That's a good way to go about your shopping, even if you're not training for triathlon.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right.
Read the
Good to
labels.
know. Read the labels.
Absolutely.
And in closing today, Lee Grigsby, what are you going to leave for us?
Well, I want to know for next week how everybody's meal plan goes.
Okay.
I want
Yeah.
to know how the meal plan goes. I want to know how your shopping goes. Even if you only have one meal for one day out of the 7, that's
Hey, it's a
awesome.
start, right?
And you got to start somewhere.
Sometimes you need
Absolutely.
baby steps like this, Lee. And
That's
how
right.
can we reach out to you, sweetheart?
Absolutely. You can reach me at liveallgood44gmail.com. That's the number 44 at gmail.com. You can find me, liveallgood.com. You can also find me on social media. It's LiveAllGood Coaching, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find me at Lee Grigsby on Facebook, or you can call or text at 202-455-6104.
Beautiful. Thank you for your time today. It's a pleasure seeing you
Absolutely.
again
Great
and
to see
looking
you
forward to the
again.
next time we meet. Have a great day.
Absolutely. See
And
you,
to all of our
Jill.
listeners, start meal planning. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.